Let's talk about T2, baby. Welcome back to the channel. And this time, I'm gonna do something a little different. Something I've been meaning to do for a while. Let's talk about one of the greatest movies of all time. But first, let's watch the trailer. They make. John's gonna. Get down. This movie was so heavy. Ooh, this is some strong imagery. Why? Woo! Guys. Oh man, I forgot how good this trailer was. Woo! Okay, I want that to just be like a little bit of an intro. Alright, I'm gonna let that go ahead and loop in the background. Okay, so. Man, what a trailer. What a trailer. So, E2. Man. It just reminds me, like, seeing this trailer again. Dude. The level of action. I say this about very few people. But I think that, honestly, like, James Cameron might be one of my favorite, like, human beings. Because the thing about James Cameron is that, like, he's probably the #1 action guy. Like the amount of like the thing about action is that like if you know how to do action correctly, it's like the most amazing thing that you can ever see. Just looking at this trailer, James Cameron is the best. Like I'll always say this about like, you know, T2. T2 is my #1 movie as far as like sci-fi action. And #2 will probably be like The Matrix. But the funny part is Matrix is actually like a better movie. In terms of like thoughtfulness, it has the crazy action that T2 has, but it has a lot more in terms of what you know, it's got a little bit of everything for everyone in that movie. The Wachowskis did an excellent job of creating the ultimate like action movie that appeals to everyone. It doesn't just appeal to the people who like action. There's also a lot of thought put in there, a lot of philosophy put in there, a lot of just like things that make you think. But it's missing one key ingredient. That key ingredient is right in front of us. This guy right here, Arnie. The thing about Arnie is that he's like a cheat code. It's unfair. Like you put Arnie in a movie, you already have the best action director. You put Arnie in there. It just like the levels to which like T2 goes, because it's like before you watch like T2, Arnie was already a star from T1, and Red Heat and Commando and all these movies. Arnold peaked in T2. Like the guy was already like one of the biggest action stuff. But when he came out in this movie, we saw levels of Arnie that we have never seen before. It was shocking. And that is like the little bit of edge that like pushes like T2 to get the fight. Like it makes it the best action movie. It makes it the best action movie. One of the best sequels too ever made. Like, dude, not only is it like the best like sci-fi sequel ever made, it has one of the best villains I've ever seen in my life. Let me talk about the psychology first, because like we're gonna go a little deep here. We're gonna go a little deep, so hold on to your butts, grab a snack. We're gonna break this down real quick. Let's go back in time. Terminator 1. Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 1 was one of the most terrifying, like, he was like, Arnold was so scary in T1, he gave me nightmares. Like, the level of like, the way that they did Arnold in Terminator 1, that was one of the most psychotic, crazy like villains I've ever seen in my life. And just like think about like the way that Michael Biehn plays a good part in this, because like Michael Biehn actually amped him up in the movie. He can't be bargained with. He can't be reasoned with. He doesn't feel pity, remorse, or fear. He absolutely will not stop ever. You are dead. But anyway, the thing that like in that movie, Arnold was like a complete villain. Like the fact that in Terminator 2 they flipped it around so that Arnold became the hero, and you found a villain that's even scarier than Arnold in Terminator 1. That is ridiculous. Let me tell you, like, Robert Patrick in T2 is one of the fucking scariest things I've ever seen. Because the thing about it is that, like, he's so unassuming. I mean, look at him. Look at this guy. Hold on. Let's go back. Look at this guy. Hold on. Let me get a good free. Yeah, it's just kind of hard to get him. Okay, here we go. If you see this guy walking down the street, you wouldn't think twice. You wouldn't think twice. You'd just be like, oh, okay, this is a cop. He's skinny. He doesn't have any money. Like, he doesn't look intimidating. When this guy showed up at the beginning of the movie, you know something serious was going to happen. The way that Robert Patrick was able to outclass Arnold in terms of scariness, like, my God, like it's incredible. I think for me, like one of the biggest like scenes that really like solidified him was when he started running after John Connor when he first sees him. This guy was running like he must have been running at 20 miles an hour chasing after this kid. And just the way that he like, the look on his face, his mannerisms, the way he ran like this. He ran like this, guys. Like this. Who runs after somebody like this? If somebody runs after me like that, I am running for my life. His whole demeanor, his look, his eyes. This thing was an emotionless, efficient killing machine like I've never seen before in my life. This is why I always talk highly of James Cameron, because James Cameron can go into that darkness, man. That edgy darkness of sci-fi that very few guys can do. And it just gives the movie so much more, man. He's not afraid to go for that. And there's other guys that can do it. I mean, I'm sure Spielberg can do this, but he just doesn't go down that path. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about the action. My God. The action set pieces in this movie some of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. Almost. See, the crazy thing about action is that, like, if you know how to do it creatively and use your imagination within whatever you have going, the T-1000 liquid metal thing, he used that in ways that really exploded on screen. Like the part when he's like he's chasing after them and he goes into the elevator and then the beam goes through the beam in the middle of the elevator and it changes shape and opens up and then Arnold pulls out the shotgun and blows his head open and then his head is like, it's like half open. And that's what I'm talking about, man. Why aren't more movies doing this? Creative action, well-filmed action, explosive action. Crazy. Just look at the imagery on screen right now. Look at the imagery on screen right now. There's a scene in this movie. Okay, let me just start this. Let me start. Okay. There's a lot to talk about here. The first action scene of the movie is literally as good as, if not better than, most final action scenes in movies. And I'm talking about the chase through the alleyway with the truck and John Connor on his bike. Absolutely explosive. It's the beginning of the film. Look at this. This is the beginning of the movie. That is the ending shot to any other movie. That would have been the ending shot to Terminator 1. And that's very smart because that was a callback to Terminator 1 from the truck at the end of the movie. The shootout in the Galleria. The way that Arnold pulled out the gun and walked over the roses. The music playing. The first time you see two Terminators fight each other. The psychology of two Terminators fighting each other. Two of the greatest killing machines ever created fighting each other. That is a crazy concept, and this is the first time you've seen that on screen. It was a great fight. They grabbed each other and were throwing each other into the concrete walls like it was paper. Like it was paper. This is the first 35-40 minutes in the movie. We're not even talking about like towards the end where the action kicks up like 3 more levels. Like when you see Arnold surf a semi-truck. Then he jumps onto the hood of it, pulls out an M16, and is shooting the T-1000 in the face. T-1000. And then he pulls the steering wheel, the truck swivels around. No, I'm sorry, I said it backwards. He does that first, and then he surfs the truck at the end. He surfs a semi-truck. It's just... Oh. You guys have to watch this. If you haven't seen T2, you need to watch it. You should have watched it yesterday. Like... God. James Cameron, what you did with T2, like, see, the only weakness of T2 is the fact that it kind of retreads the same storyline as the first movie, but it adds so much new elements to it that it's like, okay. And it's a real shame because, like, a lot of people don't realize this about Terminator 2. There is no more movies after Terminator 2. It's over. You got rid of Arnold. You got rid of the last chip. You destroyed Cyberdyne. There's nowhere else to go, people. Like, all these sequels that come out, all of them have been crap. Because you're missing the key ingredient. You're missing the key ingredient of James Cameron. He's the brain behind this whole thing. I don't care like how many people say that they can go ahead and... You can't... Look at the... You can't replicate his action. Nobody can. And you pair this guy with Arnold, and the thing about James Cameron is that he understands how to give you peak Arnold. Arnold on his own is amazing, but James Cameron knows how to use Arnold effectively. That's a crazy thing to see on screen. To this day, like, I remember like first watching this movie in the theaters, and it changed me. Like, I'm a different person. I'm a different person after seeing T2. Look at the imagery that's in this trailer. It's ridiculous. Dude. Sarah Connor. Let's talk about Sarah Connor for a second. Linda Hamilton in this movie is one of the greatest female action performances that has ever been done on film. She's right up there with Sigourney Weaver as Ripley. She's like, she went from being like, in Terminator 1, she went from being like a server who barely can know how to even defend herself, and in T2, her transformation into this crazy, roided up, muscular, like, killing machine. It's like she became a Terminator in this movie herself. Like, her story arc that they created from T1 to T2 is an incredible story arc. The imagery of Sarah Connor with that shotgun in the metal factory. This right here. This scene right here. This scene right here. Not only is one of the best final acts to any action movie. Because the thing about, okay, we're getting off track here a bit. We're gonna get back to Sarah Connor. The final scene, the final act of Terminator 2, when things are going down in this factory that you see here, you've already seen a crazy chase, a crazy battle at Cyberdyne, and now they saved the best for last. The showdown in this place between Arnold and the T-1000 is one of the most unprecedented. I've never seen anything that crazy before. The way that these guys fought. Like, Arnold punched the T-1000 in the head. It went through his head. The T-1000's head morphed back into arms, and then the guy flipped around and threw Arnold into the machine, and then Arnold's arm gets stuck in the machine, and it's like the creative talent behind that action was incredible. Anyway, Sarah Connor in this film is a very high point, and I always bring it up because, like, a lot of times today, like, there's so much like forced like female action stars. The thing about James Cameron, this guy was doing it way before anybody else was doing it, and it wasn't forced. It didn't feel like it was just like pandering. It felt like it was a genuine. I didn't even really think about it. Like, you watch the movie and you're like, oh, that's just how she is. Good characters, they just are the way they are. You don't even, your brain doesn't even like pick it up. She used to scare me as a kid. Like the scene when she's in the mental hospital and she's like going crazy and they're trying to restrain her, and she's like, the amount of psychological damage that this woman has gone through from T1, and you see it all play out in T2. That's damn good storytelling. The ending of T2 is one of the few movies I'll say this on camera. It's one of the few movies that, as a guy, it actually made me cry. The bond that John Connor had with that Terminator, that fatherly relationship they developed, and the way that Arnold went down, and he had to. The fact that you cared about a cold-hearted, scary killing machine at the end of this film shows you the levels to which James Cameron took it. When he's going down into the lava and that music's playing, the way the music starts swelling up and he's being lowered and he gives a thumbs up as he's going down. Man. T2 is a crazy film. If you haven't seen it, go watch it right now. My favorite action movie of all time. Second only to The Matrix, Terminator 2 Judgment Day. That's all I have for you guys. Let me know if you like this video. I'm planning to do a lot more of these. And I want to do a video where I do T2 versus Matrix and kind of break down why Matrix is technically a better film. And just get into the deep nitty-gritty of it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching the video. Remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more of this stuff. And I love talking about this because this is like a passion of mine, man. I've always wanted to like talk about these old school movies and kind of just break down what I like about them, because like I feel like this is kind of like my DNA, like the things that made me. So I'm sure other people out there feel the same way. But yeah, I'll go ahead and get out of here now, but I'll see you guys in the next video.